members. This session will be about the environment and ecology. I will first invite the Secretary for Environment and Ecology, Mr. Jie Wan, to deliver the opening remarks, and then I will open the floor for questions. Members who wish to speak can press the Request to Speak button. First, I give the floor to the Secretary. Over to you, Secretary. Thank you. Now, for the Environment and Ecology Bureau, we will adopt innovative thinking to align with the 15th Five-Year Plan. We will align with our country's green and low-carbon development strategy. To tie in with our country's dual carbon target, the government strives to halve Hong Kong's carbon emissions by 2035 and to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. Hong Kong's carbon emissions already peaked in 2014. In 2024, our carbon emissions were down a quarter from the peak level, while per capita CO2 emissions fell to 4.41 tons, marking a record low and a drop of 3.5% from 2023. Our current emissions are roughly a quarter of the US level and 60% of the EU level. On green technology, the government continues to drive research into decarbonization through the $400 million Green Tech Fund. Under this fund, 39 projects on hydrogen energy and waste-to-resources conversion have been approved. We are also assisting 2 local tech startups with setting up production lines at the Eco Park by the middle of this year. Their operations will upcycle recyclables into core materials for electricity-free cooling product and acoustic metamaterial product. On new energy, hydrogen energy is among the future industries identified in the National 15th Five-Year Plan. In 2024, the HKSAR government laid down a top-level plan under the strategy of hydrogen development in Hong Kong. We will develop hydrogen certification set standards that will align with mainland and overseas practices of Hong Kong to build a demonstration platform that will facilitate the export of technologies. In May this year, we will organize the Hydrogen Week. We will organize technical visits to the Chinese mainland and leverage Hong Kong's role as a super connector. Sustainable aviation fuel, SAF, is the most widely adopted measure to promote the low-carbon transition in the aviation sector. The HKSAR government is enabling a local business that is also a major SAF supplier of the world to develop its business in the GBA. The scope of business includes upstream collection of raw materials and setting up of production lines for large-scale production. On new energy transport, the rigorous promotion by the government and concerted effort of stakeholders have led to a rapid development of EVs in Hong Kong. Their number grew by 400% to more than 140,000 over 4 years. By 2030, we will have more than 290,000 EVs. By 2035, we will even have almost 500,000 EVs. In February this year, we updated our roadmap on popularization of EVs, and that can help us achieve the zero vehicular emissions target by 2050. The technology of EPCs has matured. Many models are available. Prices have fallen. EPCs are now competitive in the market. Their future development will be market-driven. The government's focus will be on improving supporting infrastructure, such as chargers. We will set up a public charging network with fast chargers, the backbone. This will go hand in hand with existing and future private chargers. Our goal is that by 2035, all chargers put together will be able to support roughly 800,000 EVs. On waste reduction at source, our average daily disposal of MSW or municipal solid waste decreased from 11,358 tons in 2021 to 10,510 tons in 2024. Meanwhile, the recovery rates rose from 31% in 2021 to 34% in 2024. This shows the culture of waste reduction and recycling has gradually taken hold among the public. To achieve zero landfill in 2035 and continuously promote waste reduction at source, the government will earmark resources for a 5-year plan starting from the financial year 2026 to 27. The plan will enhance and upgrade recycling infrastructure in 3 ways. First, we will expand the recycling network, a drive that will gradually transform Greenland community into round-the-clock self-service recycling facilities. Second, we will extract valuable materials from waste and turn them into raw materials for green products through technology in support of a circular economy. Third, we will build a smart recycling network logistics system for greater cost effectiveness and efficiency. The government will also consult the Legislative Council panel on environmental affairs this year regarding producer responsibility schemes for EV batteries, plastic beverage containers, and beverage cartons. This year, the government will also seek funding approval for another large-scale waste-to-energy facility, which is iPark 2. On nature conservation, last December, we updated the Hong Kong Biodiversity Strategy and action plan. We released the updated plan. That plan covered 30 priority actions, 4 strategic areas, and 81 priority projects. In the Northern Metropolis, we're taking forward the Sample Shoe wetland conservation part to achieve the objectives of conservation, eco-education, eco-recreation, eco-tourism, and also a modernized agriculture industry. The first phase of the park is due for completion in 2031, with the rest of the park will be finished by 2039. To improve the experience of visiting the countryside, we're actively implementing the Four Peaks Tourism Project. The work covers the Peak, Lantau Peak, Saikong Hoi, and Tai Mo Shan, and we will also connect nearby attractions to create green tourism itineraries and develop tourism products. We will also continue to enhance country park facilities by, for example, adding new features such as treetop adventures. For some popular green tourism spots, we will explore suitable visitor management measures. Such options include whether to introduce a booking system for certain hotspots so as to better manage visitors and protect the ecosystem. My team and I welcome comments and questions from members. Thank you. Thank you, Secretary. Many members are waiting to speak, 15 in total. So please be succinct and allow enough time for the officials to give you a reply. Let's do 3 minutes per member, questions and answers inclusive. I will read out the first 10 members who will speak: Mr. Jonathan Leung, Ms. Chen Hao-yan, Mr. Kenneth Fok, Ms. Jody Koch, Dr. Christine Fok, Mr. Chen Xiu-hong, Mr. Li Kuang-yu, Ms. Carmen Kai, Mr. Andrew Lam, and Mr. Lothair Lam. Mr. Jonathan Leung. ABE 2002. It's about the illegal feeding of feral pigeons. From the reply, we can see the complaint figures and also the number of fixed penalty notices for feral pigeons. There were 1,406 complaints, but there were only 66 fixed penalty notices, or 4% of all complaints. This is top of mind for many people. They find feral pigeons a nuisance. But we handed out just a few fixed penalty notices. So how can we enhance the success of enforcement? Now, on wild pigs, 85 complaints, only 15 fixed penalty notices, and that's only 17%. The population of wild pigs is now down to 900. And that shows enforcement has worked well. In terms of expenditure and the manpower, and we spend twice as much on managing wild pigs as managing feral pigeons. Can we allocate resources to deal with feral pigeons first? Mr. McKillai. I get it. Feral pigeons are a problem that many members have told me about. It's an issue. We have revised the penalty to $5,000. Apart from the AFCD, other departments also enforce the law about feral pigeons. Officers from different departments enforce the law depending on the location involved. We now have a working group. This working group will enhance enforcement effectiveness. We hold regular meetings. We will work more closely together on joint actions. We also technologies. Recently, we adopted AI-enabled tools. We adopt surveillance technologies. We gather information at black spots of feeding for us to plan our law enforcement operations. The new system has helped us issue fixed penalty notices to people feeding the pigeons illegally. And we will strengthen the use of such technologies. On the other point raised by Mr. Leung, resource allocation for law enforcement depends on the gravity of the issues. We devote more resources to more serious problems. Wild pigs and feral pigeons are both priority areas for us. And we will make flexible use of resources to deal with the issues at hand. Thank you. Ms. Chen Hao-yan. 061 and 062, my questions are about food waste. Food waste is the biggest source of municipal solid waste. I give credit to the government. That's because we have been recovering more and more food waste. For public housing estates, the daily collected it's 104 tons. That's the amount we collect every day. For private housing, we also saw a notable increase. 400 tons in 2023. We're now at almost 7,000 tons. From the figures in the replies, I see wild variations from district to district. In some areas, we have many bins, but we receive little food waste. In Yaoqinmeng and Wanchai, the number of bins are similar. In Yaoqinmeng, we collected 1 ton, 10 times as much as in Wanchai. The discrepancies are huge. Can we look at these figures to look for ways to improve publicity? My concern lies with private housing. The subsidy period will expire gradually. So how do we enhance our subsidies going forward? Have we thought about private housing estates returning those bins? And that may undermine our recycling effort. Who will take the question, please? Mr. Kenneth Chang from the EPD will take the question. Thank you. There are variations in the level of food waste collected across districts. That discrepancy comes down to population and also the location of the bins. We collect less food waste in Wanchai because there is no massive public housing estate in Wanchai. And the private housing projects that take part in the scheme are late joiners. So for cases where the uptake is low, we focus our publicity on those areas so that we can raise the level of food waste collected across the board. Now, on the 2-year trial on smart food waste bins, 14 housing estates will see the subsidy expire in the first half of this year. Quite a number of them indicated their desire to continue the scheme. Just a few housing estates declined to renew the scheme. We will continue to talk to them. The monthly maintenance fee is $500 to $1,000. When you have 500 households in a housing estate, that comes down to $1 or $2 per household every month. We look at the figures. We talk to these estates. We can explain to these estates that the green dollars earned by the residents can cover the monthly maintenance fees. So with that information, some housing estates have changed their mind and they will continue with the scheme.
Mr. Kenneth Falk, thank you. I'd like to follow up on my own question, that is EBE 007. The AFCD spent some $450 million on managing the country parks, and there is a rise of money spent on country parks compared to last year. Is it because of the promotional efforts of the department, and as a result there are more visitors going to the country park and hence the higher maintenance fees? With more visitors going to the country park, will the money spent on maintenance be higher? I support the Four Peaks tourism projects. The government in the reply said that they're going to ensure sustainable development tourism in the countryside. Our country advocated for competition economy, and it is said that they wanted to promote outdoor sports. I wonder if the AFCD will talk to the trade to make better use of the facilities at the four peaks so that we can promote mega event economy. AFCD manages many trails and parks, but some sections of them may be under the purview of LCSD, some may be under the purview of Highways Department. The application process is complicated. I wonder if there will be a dedicated department responsible for promoting mega event economy. Director, thank you. Regarding the increase of estimates by about $12 million, well, as we see a rise in the number of visitors, the maintenance cost and funding spent on education and facilities will have to be increased. Because of the increase in the number of visitors coming to Hong Kong, that's why we expect that we have to incur an extra $12 million. Regarding the facilities at the four peaks, we will improve and put in place facilities before we promote the four peaks. We want to make it convenient for visitors to access the four peaks, and at the same time we want to conserve the natural environment. You said that different hiking trails are under the purview of different departments. We are working on streamlining all the application procedures for projects relating to hiking trails and applications to hold activities there. We have been trying to streamline all the procedures. Next, Mr. Kwok Fu-yong. Thank you. I'd like to follow up on EV chargers. 094. The government has spent money, $300 million, to promote this fast charger incentive scheme. According to the annex applied by the government, the distribution of chargers in Hong Kong is quite fragmented. In Kwai Chung, there are 31, Tsuen Wan 37. But in Yuen Long, we have 74, and in Kwun Tong, we have 87. The discrepancy is huge. The administration explained that as long as we are able to supply enough chargers, we don't have to make sure that there is equal number of chargers everywhere. In Yuen Long, we have 27 petrol filling stations, but there are only 3 of petrol filling stations in Central and Western District. But that's because of land supply issues, and that should not be the justifications for an uneven distributions of charges in Hong Kong. EVs is a trend, and the oil prices is on the high side. I think that the government should strive to encourage owners of vehicles to switch to EVs. And I wonder what the justifications of the government is. In providing chargers in different places, will they decide on the concentration of charges depending on the population at a particular district? There are 489 fast chargers that have been approved as at the end of February this year, but only 20 of them have been put to service. So I wonder, what about the remaining 469 of them? Why are they not available yet? I will ask Mr. Leung, Principal Assistant Secretary, to answer the question. Well, let me first answer the questions on the table in the annex. We have installed chargers at some PFS, petrol filling stations. Some of the PFS have been converted to charging stations. As for the fast charger incentive scheme, we launched it in July. We want to install 3,000 fast chargers across the territory. In about half a year, we have approved over 500 of chargers as at February. We have to solve various issues. Some are land related, some are power supply related. After approving the applications, the chargers have to be installed and made available within 12 months. As for the distribution of fast charger, we want to adopt a market-led approach. We allow the service providers to install chargers where there is a demand. That's why there are more chargers at certain locations. Ms. Christine Fong, thank you. I'd like to follow on my own questions, EEB E088. That's about the EV charging at home subsidy scheme, EHSS. The government said that 28 parking spaces that are about 5,000 parking spaces have been approved and withdrew from the EHSS. The amount reserved were $94 million. We have set aside $3.5 billion and some $2 billion have been spent, and about $1.4 billion have been reserved for the 261 car parks that have withdrawn. Are we going to reallocate the balance to the residential developments on the waiting list, or do we have other purpose for the sum? Has the department looked into why some residential developments withdrew from the scheme? And have you looked into the number of EVs at the car parks after they've joined the HSS? Mr. Lan, Principal Assistant Secretary. Well, 28 car parks have withdrawn from the HSS because of two different reasons. First, an owner corporation decided to withdraw, and they've decided that the owners of the parking space will decide whether to install the charger at their own parking space. As at the end of 2025, we have installed some 77,000 chargers. As at mid-2027, we expect that the remaining sum will be spent, covering a total of some 140,000 parking spaces. Thank you. Any follow-up questions? Because your ceiling of subsidy is some $15 million, some development may have 500 parking spaces, and as a result, the subsidy they need may exceed the ceiling. Will you relax it so that more residential developments can obtain funding under the scheme? P.S. Thank you. Regarding the $3.5 billion, we have approved of all of the applications in 2024. We're just proceeding with the rest of the works. As at 2025, we have 77,000 chargers, and by 2027, we expect that there will be 140,000 parking spaces equipped with chargers. The balance of the scheme would have been spent by 2027. Mr. Chen Xiuhong, I have to declare interest. I'm a senior consultant of the CLP. I'd like to follow up on EBE 076. The government said that in its 74 government car parks with about 1,600 chargers, the usage rate is about 12% on average. Compared to last year, although the average utilization rate is higher, but over half, 39 of the government car parks have the utilization rate at a single digit. I think that this is a waste of resources. I asked the government to conduct a review of it. I wonder if the administration have any new policies in response to that. I also like to ask about EBE 069. The EPD said that they're going to, by stages, turn the 86 recycling stations into different district recycling network to be run by community organizations. I wonder how much can be saved by such a conversion, and I wonder if the waste recycled will be increased. The smart recycling bin is to recover paper, metal, plastic bottles, and glass bottles, but that does not cover small household appliances or LED. If there are fewer recycling stations in the future, how are people going to recycle the waste? Thank you. The charges at the government car parks are operated by two different operators. We have been talking to them as to how we can enhance the utilization rate of the chargers. Now we are adopting this approach of charging by the time used. And we have already published the updated version of the roadmap to popularization of EV. We now want to build a charging network that is based on fast chargers as the backbone. We will look into whether we can install fast chargers at government car parks. Mr. Chang, please be brief. We are looking at the combination under the Green Ag community. We have made the calculations based on district, and we expect that the cost can be lowered by 20 to 30%. As for the smart recycling bin, well, we place those at residential developments that have space available. Thank you. Mr. Lee Kuan Yew. Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to follow up on EBE 073. That's Mr. Chen Xiuhong's question. I understand that the number of FWSRB have gone from 270 from December 2023 to 180 have been approved, covering some 400,000 households. The food waste have gone from 1,000 in 2024, 5,000 in 2025, and maybe over 10,000 in 2026. We see that the food waste smart recycling bin scheme's been very successful. However, the maintenance of these smart recycling bin may be borne by residential development. The maintenance fees is just $500 to $1,000 is not high, but still 1% of the developments are not going to continue with the scheme. And I wonder if the administration will dedicate more resources to support the residential developments that may withdraw, and I wonder if the government will lower the maintenance fee. Thank you.
Mr. Kenneth Chen. We talk to those housing estates with their expiry date coming soon for the subsidy scheme. We sent officers to explain how things work and the fees to them. The monthly maintenance fee may vary depending on the length of the future contract. some housing estates decided to renew their contract after we explain how things work to them. Some housing estates go for conventional food waste bins. The free collection services will remain in place. Ms. Carmen Khan. Thank you, Chairman. 148, my own question. My argument is that power is crucial to computing capacity. For Cyberport and the data cluster at Sandy Ridge, what will we do to further lower power costs? The general public may not need access to computing power, but the cost of power will affect the users of computing power because this has to do with our competitiveness. Any response? Ms. Polly Kwok will take the question. Thank you. In the northern metropolis, CLP Power will start different projects in areas such as Hongshui-Q and the Loop under the Scheme of Control Agreement. That's to support emerging industries such as data centers. The government is also looking into ways to step up collaboration. We're looking into the use of zero-carbon energy to drive high-quality development. We will have a project that will be completed on clean energy. That will help us import more zero-carbon energy from the mainland. We will also plan accordingly to bring in clean energy, and that will reduce our reliance on fossil fuel. That will stabilize electricity tariffs. This will also help ensure the sustainable development of power-hungry industries such as I&T sectors. Mr. Andrew Lam, AAB 152. First, on the chargers at government car parks, I have a question about the usage rate of such chargers. Usage at 12%, and it's 3 hours per charger per day. That reply shows that the usage rate is hardly on the high side. Of course, we want people to use the fast chargers. But government car parks are primarily for people to park their cars there. Isn't there tension between having more chargers and having a car park? If we put more chargers in the car parks, people may keep their cars in the car parks for more hours, 8 hours, 9 hours. So what's the government's view of this? Now, 142 trial projects are completed under the new energy transport scheme. How many projects have succeeded, meaning how many have turned into successful applications after trials? So Mr. Leung will take the question about chargers. And we have 1,600 chargers at government car parks. The usage is 12%. 12% is not a low level. we look at the day as a whole, the usage rate is roughly 10% even in the private market, so 12% is not a low level. We deploy fast chargers for a reason. We can turn some medium chargers into fast chargers. And that will help us make the most of the electricity. That's what we are trying to say. Now, on the new energy transport fund, it covers two areas. First, trial applications. Second, applications. The member brought up trial projects. Those projects are completed. We used to give funding to the operators to try out their new vehicles. For the applications, we fund the purchase of proven projects or proven technologies. In December 2024, we rolled out the funding scheme for e-taxis, and then there was also a scheme for purchasing e-buses. So that's for the application. Mr. Lothair Lam. EEBE 151, my own question. I'm looking at the reply. We have just few chargers for commercial vehicles, and that's slowing down the effort of going electric for commercial vehicles. The government promised more chargers and also more charging spots for such commercial vehicles. So I wonder if the government will set an indicator, a goal for the number of such chargers and the ratio of commercial vehicles to such chargers. Now I also want to follow up on reply 184. The Green Tech Fund has been set up for 6 years. That fund is $400 million. $170 million has been granted, or 40%. Why do we have this level? Is it because the scheme is unpopular? Is it because the industry doesn't take the scheme seriously? Or is it because the approval criteria are too onerous? And what do we do to encourage applications to this fund? Mr. Ray Leung will take the question about the chargers. Who will take the question about the Green Tech Fund? The Commissioner on Climate will take the question. Mr. Ray Leung. On the ratio of chargers to cars, the ratio does not give us a full picture of the charging capacity. When you have faster chargers, you don't need as many chargers. When charging is almost as fast as petrol refueling, then you will need fewer chargers. So in the updated popularization roadmap in February, we stressed the need for fast chargers, meaning 100 kilowatts or more. So the minimum is 100 kilowatts. We encourage the market to provide more fast chargers. A fast charger can serve more vehicles than medium chargers, and that would be a better solution. Now over to the Commissioner for Climate Change. The Green Tech Fund was set up to support decarbonization projects and also research projects on green initiatives. We receive many R&D applications under the fund. Different policy bureaus and departments and also external assessors look at these applications, and then they submit their advice to the selection committee. We go by the criteria in vetting the applications. Our criteria include the contribution of a project to decarbonization and green efforts. And we also look at the potential of a project for transformation. We have to make sure the money is spent properly under the fund. We select the best project among the applications. That's why the number of projects approved each year depends on the quality of the projects, whether they meet the criteria. Every year, we promote this fund to the industry. We tell the industry about our criteria. We communicate the criteria clearly to applicants so that applicants will have greater success. Mr. Kazaf Tam, 177, my own question. This has to do with the Rural Conservation Subsidy Scheme and also licensing for guest houses in the countryside. For urban rural integration, we need not just funding. We need to revitalize the countryside. We were told about streamlining the licensing for the guest houses. 11 out of 13 applications are in Laichiwo. In Kokpo and Yimtianzai, there were just one each. Is fire safety, drainage, or E&M holding back the applicants? Is that the reason for the small number of applications, or is it because we still have a lengthy approval process even after the streamlining, or are there other reasons for the small number of applications approved? Now on 025, it has to do with the Sampolshu Wetland Conservation Park. My question is about Phase 1. The government secured $84.9 million for a consultancy study. That's for the detailed design. So is the detailed design done yet? The reply also says that later this year, the government will seek funding for the Phase 1 works. Do we have an estimate for the project cost of Phase 1? Who will take the question, please? The AFCD? Ms. Fabia Tam will take the first question, and then Mr. Mickey Lai will take the second question. Sorry. Now, on the Countryside Conservation Office, now for guest houses and restaurants, we have been taking forward the scheme about licensing together with the local villagers. The process has been challenging. In terms of land administration, buildings, and fire safety, there's room for further streamlining. After overcoming the barriers, we rolled out guidelines last December. So the work has been done. The work was done before the guidelines came out. In the policy address last year, we also saw potential in places like Yanchao Tong for scaling up. That's also a way for us to promote our great outdoors. And we can also promote tourism projects, and that can support rural revitalization. So it's a dual-track process. Procedurally, we streamline the rules. Meanwhile, we also work on projects in Yanchao Tong to implement these guidelines. A brief reply from Mr. Mickey Lai. Can we switch on the microphone for Mr. Mickey Lai? For the park in Sampolshu, we started the detailed design last September. The work is still ongoing. We are consulting on the work. On the estimated project cost, we will have to wait till the detailed design is done, and then we will be able to come up with a more reasonable estimate.
Mr. Tankapio, thank you, Chairman. I'd like to follow up on my own question. That's 179 and 181. They're both about electricity. 179 is about chargers, or rather the promotion of new energy vehicles. War is going on. The cost of raw materials have been going up. Some contractors said that they cannot continue building the developments that they're working on because of the rise of raw materials, they may have to exit the project. So I wonder if the same has happened for residential developments that are subsidized for the installation of chargers by the government. My second question. It is said that some $2.4 billion have been granted to install photovoltaic panels. I wonder how much money the government have saved by the installation of photovoltaic panels at buildings. I wonder if the government can build or install more of such panels, because I know that these panels are not expensive. The government said that they are implementing the pilot scheme on building integrated photovoltaics at the EMSD headquarters to explore photovoltaic technology applications on the facade of buildings. I wonder how much money have been spent and whether the energy efficiency have been enhanced. Secretary. The first question will be answered by Mr. Wei Chen. The second one will be answered by the Director of Electrical and Mechanical Services. Please be brief. Mr. Leung. To put simply, we have not received any contractors quitting the project because the cost has been increased. For every charger, we subsidize some $100,000. Mr. Mok. We don't have the relevant figures as to the usage of electricity because it depends on the weather. We are working on 2 different projects. The solar panels on our rooftop was installed some 20 years ago. We're preparing to replace them, and we're looking at the various brands and products on the market. So we don't have an estimate as to how much we're going to spend on it. We have identified a vertical facade of our building for the installation of vertical panels. We have shared with the trade how we used it last July with the trade. Mr. Yu Ming, thank you. I'd like to follow up on my own question. That's EEB E031 regarding the manpower of AFCD. Last year, the establishment of AFCD were some 2,316. There are 283 vacancies. This year, the establishment will go down to some 2,261. I wonder if the 51 post cuts come from the 283 vacancies. There are some 2,000 people at the AFCD, some 699 are responsible for the daily management of country parks, law enforcement, patrol, and education. We have some 25 country parks in Hong Kong that account for half of the size of Hong Kong. We have, on average, less than 30 people to manage one country park. So the manpower situation is rather tight. A country park is very popular among visitors. We have this Blueprint 2.0 on tourism, and we want to develop ecotourism. We also have this Four Peaks project, along with some other plans in mind to promote tourism in country park or countryside. Given the existing establishment, I wonder if the AFCD can cope with the work. During holidays, we may need extra manpower to manage the parks. And I wonder how the department can solve the manpower issues so that we can better support ecotourism development in Hong Kong. Thank you. Mr. You asked about the 55 positions cut. Some of them are vacant. Some of them were time-limited posts. There are many challenges with the management of country parks because we are seeing more and more visitors going there. We are confident in facing up to the challenges. We will improve our overall management strategy, and we flexibly deploy our manpower, especially during long holidays. Apart from establish our existing permanent establishment, we sometimes hire contract staff. We will make use of technology on management and law enforcement. We make use of drones, unmanned aircrafts to conduct patrol inspection, and we also make use of a lot of electronic devices to save manpower and to cope with their challenges. Lastly, as regards ecotourism, we will work with the Tourism Commission so that we can pool our resources together to seize these opportunities and tackle these challenges. Mr. Yuming, I have questions regarding reply 113, that's the collection of food waste. It seems that the government is more focused on the food recycling at public housing rather than private housing. The maintenance fees of the smart food waste recycling bin may be low, but it may be $1 or $2 per household every month, but that's extra expenditure for people. If the private housing development withdraw from the scheme, then some residents may be discouraged to recycle their food waste because they earn less green dollars. Because there's sometimes no smart food waste recycling bins at private housing residential development, so some of their residents take their food waste to public housing estate where there is smart recycling bins, and these bins overfill very quickly. So I wonder if we can offer more support to these private housing estate to cover some of their maintenance fees, and so that we can encourage more private housing developments to take part in this scheme. Mr. Chang, can you answer this question? Thank you. Please rest assured. Regarding smart recycling bins at private housing estates, in the 5-year plan, as we said in our reply, we will continue to expand the network of smart food waste recycling bin. In October last year, we raised the threshold from 1,000, well, we lowered the threshold from 1,000 flats to 200 flats. So more private residential estates can take part in the scheme. We looked at and talked to the housing estates that were planning to quit after 2-year period of the subsidy scheme, and we offered some free service. We made some calculations and we showed them that the money that they have to spend on maintaining the bins is not high. If eventually they decided to quit the scheme, we will offer them with traditional food waste recycling bins, and we will also provide them with hotlines. Ms. Vivian Kong. Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to follow up on reply 001 and 007. In the government's reply, they're saying that in 2026-27, they're going to spend some $7.8 million on the Four Peaks Tourism Project, but they have not provided a breakdown on the estimates and staffing proposals. Can they share with us how much they're going to spend on hardware, software, promotion, and expanding capacity, as well as working with the trade? In the second half of 2026, the administration is going to launch a series of promotional campaigns to promote Four Peaks tourism project? Have they taken into account whether there is enough facilities, whether the loading capacities of the sites are enough or capable to sustain the number of visitors that are going there during holidays? To manage people flow better, the AFCD is looking into installing automatic people counting devices or making use of drones to monitor the situation. Will they disclose the real-time data to the public? The AFCD said that they're going to spend some $452 million on the maintenance of the country parks. That's $1.2 million more than last year. I wonder how the AFCD will allocate the extra manpower. Will they increase the staff responsible for patrol, for maintenance, or law enforcement? Mr. Lai. Let me answer the questions regarding spending some $7.8 million on Four Peaks. We will spend some $5 million on renewing our facilities, improving some of our hiking trails, our signage, or interpretation panels. We may plant some more attractive flora at different hiking trails at the Four Peaks. That's how we're going to spend our $5 million on, and we're also going to spend $2 million on promotion and advertisement. We will work on improving the facilities, and that is why we need time to prepare for the project. We don't want there to be any problems. That's why we have been estimating the expected number of visitors very carefully, and we're going to make plans for foreseeable traffic issues. We expect that we're going to launch the Four Peaks tourism project by the end of this year. On the automation of people counting or visitor counting, at the East Dam, during long holidays, when there are many visitors going there, we disclose the number of visitors in real time to the public. When necessary, when we need to manage people flow at some hotspots, we may adopt the same measure. As for the $12 million increase in expenditure, we spent some of them on maintenance and manpower. As mentioned, depending on the features of the hotspot or the people flow during holidays, we may deploy manpower flexibly or hire contract staff. And we will also improve our education and law enforcement work. Mr. Chen Pok-chi, I'd like to ask about 068 in Pingshan, Santin, Hachun, in Yunnan. These villages are not connected to public sewage system. The septic tanks were not managed well, and some of the wastewater went to the stormwater drainage system that affect the reservoir and worsen people's quality of living. So I wonder if the government will improve the sewage systems at villages, and will they include the improvement works of sewage system in the Northern District into the Northern Metropolis Development Blueprint.
Director of Environmental Protection. For public sewers, we have reached a coverage rate of 94%, and that's a high level across the world. In rural areas, septic tanks are still in use. septic tanks, as long as they are properly maintained and repaired, are enough to deal with sewage. For the northern metropolis, if we see unsewered areas and the sewage system can reach that area, we will work with the Development Bureau and the CEDD. They will consider covering those areas under the sewage system. We want to take this opportunity to improve the environment. Dr. Simon Lee. Thank you. First, 103. Now, on the recycling spots and stores, we got the same number of recycling stations and stores, but the costs went up. Why? Now, on the visitor numbers, there was a 12 million increase in visitors to the recycling stations, but in terms of the waste process, that remained unchanged. Is that because of a constraint on the capacity, or was there another reason leading to the same amount of waste processed? Now, 166. The government did not explain the ratio. There are over 140,000 parking spaces with chargers, and that includes 16,440 public chargers. Now, for car owners without chargers in their home, they can only go for the public chargers. Has the government assessed the number of non-public chargers accessible to the public? And can we also look at the ratio of chargers to EVs so that we can take a more methodical approach to the overall plan about chargers? Mr. Kenneth Chang. The operating expenditure of the green and community stations increased because of changes in the cost of living. We have adopted different measures to improve the cost effectiveness of green and community facilities. So in some cases, we move the facilities to public markets or other government premises where we can operate the centers rent-free, or we can also extend the operating hours. So we will see a marked fall in the operating cost. Now, recycling stations are larger. Those stations also promote messages. So taking in recyclables is just part of the work. Most of the recyclables come in through the recycling spots and stores. Mr. Rayla, please be brief. Now, for private cars with chargers in their own parking spot, it's best for those private cars to be charged in those spots. There are 130,000 chargers in public housing estate, and then we have 16,000 public chargers, and that can support many EVs. Mr. Mark Chong. Thank you. EEBE 143. "60 petrol filling stations have the conditions for chargers. And those petrol stations have received approval over the past 3 years. There are 180 petrol filling stations in Hong Kong. If 60 such stations have the conditions for chargers, What long-term plans do we have for the remaining 120 stations? I visited EV plants in the mainland, and they're ahead in replacing EV batteries. Those makers are happy to try out their operation in Hong Kong, but they're struggling with venues. Can we convert the remaining petrol filling stations into places for battery replacement? My next question. The reply says that with an agreement in place, the works will be done within 6 to 12 months. But only one petrol filling station has installed chargers, and that one opened in February. In 2024 to 25, 24 approvals were given. What's holding things up, such that 2 years later, some stations have yet to install chargers? Mr. Ray Leung. There are 180 petrol filling stations. We provide chargers under two strategies. First, when the time comes for lease renewal, we retender the petrol filling stations. The second strategy is to put chargers when there is space available in an existing station. For the 60 cases, Mr. Chong brought up those required installation. As for the remaining 120 stations, when appropriate, we will consider turning those into rapid chargers. It depends on the technology at that point, and we can keep an open mind about whether to allow battery replacement in those occasions. 8 such sites are being planned for fast chargers. So we will look at the market response as we go along. On installing chargers on existing petrol filling stations, there are technical and safety issues. You cannot even make a phone call at a petrol filling station. There are hazardous goods around. So there are challenges. So after the first petrol filling station has installed the charger, we talk to the oil companies about how we can apply the experience and have more chargers. I will exercise my discretion by allowing Mr. Aaron Bok to speak. EEBE 046 and 049. The government's reply says that there are retired batteries. The EPD is not sure how many such batteries there are. To keep track of the possible contaminants, I wonder if the government has plans to require EV makers or EV repair companies or EV agents to declare the disposals and storage of retired batteries. Now on 049, this has to do with iPark 1 and iPark 2. The Northeast New Territories landfill will no longer receive MSW after iPark 1 and 2 are operational. So NENT and for WENT, how much longer will NENT and the WENT remain in operation? Dr. Samuel Tsui. For retired batteries, these are batteries from EVs. No legislation exists that requires the storage of such batteries. EV batteries are good for 8 years. So some batteries are still in use. In the future, when we roll out a producer responsibility scheme, we will look into issues like the registration of batteries. We will keep the record about retired batteries. Now, on the Northeast New Territories and West New Territories landfill, those landfills are almost at capacity. We're working on expansion project. For the one in New Territories North, that's 15 years. In West New Territories, that one would be 20 years. Once IPark 1 and IPark 2 are in action, the waste generated will be reduced, so the landfills will be good for a longer period of time. By conservative estimates, those two landfills will be able to double their operational window. So all that will depend on our recycling level and our capacity for handling the waste. So we try to minimize the amount of waste requiring disposal. 19 members have spoken in this session. The time's up. I adjourn the meeting here. Tomorrow we will start at 9 a.m. for our special Finance Committee meetings. Thank you.